This one is going to be very powerful. Now I got to go through Hebrews 11 because this one is going to require that I go through it at some length. Okay. So I want you to see this. This one is amazing. And there's a part in it that's really heartbreaking. It's Hebrews 11, 37, 38. But let's go through it slowly. This is known as the Hall of Faith, Hebrews 11.
Hall of Faith.
Hall of Faith, okay? May the Lord make my voice pleasing to your ears and the sound perfect. Now, he's going to talk about what faith is. And he's going to tell you faith is being faithful to trust God and take him at his word. And know he's real and know he will reward you. Here. Without faith, it is impossible to please God.
Right.
Forever who would approach him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him. Then he gives you examples of people of faith that had faith to please God. And then he shows you what their faith does. Notice faith is something you do. It's not just something you believe. And look at the examples he gives. Okay. By faith, Enoch was taken, verse 5, that he did not experience death. And he was not found because God had taken him. For it was attested before he was taken away that it pleased God. So now he mentions Enoch. But then he mentions Abel. Hebrews 11:4. By faith, Abel offered to God a more acceptable sacrifice than Cain's. Through this he received approval as righteousness, God himself giving approval to his gifts. He died, but through faith, his faith still speaks. Till this day he's speaking. Now what does that mean if you don't understand, brethren? It means their testimonies continue to speak to you today every time you hear their stories or read about them. The point here is, anytime and every time I hear about Abel or I hear about Noah, they still are bearing witness to me. They're testifying to me. They're speaking to me because their stories continue to be shared. So when I read about them or I hear about them, they're speaking to me and teaching me by their example what it is to please God. Okay? That means they're still converting people. Meaning it's when I preach to you and you convert, that's going to rebound to the credit of the apostles because I'm simply preaching what they spoke and wrote. So it's really their evangelism. They're evangelizing through me. So they're still converting people to this day through us. So they still live. Their message still lives and their voice can still be heard because whenever I tell you, Paul said, now Paul is working through me to convert you and Paul gets the reward. You're going to see something so amazing. When I read it, it moved my heart. Okay. Oof. If I think about it. So I'm not going to go through the whole list, but by faith, Noah, warned by God about events as yet unseen, respected the warning, built an ark to save his household. By this he condemned the world and became an heir to the righteousness that is in accordance with faith. Meaning, when he believed God, that God was going to destroy the world by flood and built that ark, you know what he said to the world? The hell with this world. I don't want this world anything. I want God and the heavenly city. That action shows that he says, bye-bye world. This world is not mine. I want God rather than you. Now, this is going to be important later. Now here. By faith, Abraham obeyed. Now, I don't want to go through all this, but I want you to remember who these people are. Sarah, Abraham. Look at all the people he's going to mention. All these died in faith without having received the promises. Notice, God promised them a home, but they didn't receive the home yet. But from a distance, they saw and greeted them. God showed them, eventually, this is going to be your home. I want you guys to listen to what he's talking about. God showed Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Abraham, I have a home for you. I have a city for you that's not built by human hands. It's built by me. I'm the architect. I've designed a home and a city for you if you remain faithful. And so he showed them the promise. They have an everlasting home. It wasn't the world. We're going to see what home he's talking about, right? Now let me continue. For people who speak in this way, they confess that they were strangers and foreigners on the earth. For people who speak in this way, make it clear that they're seeking a homeland. See, they're looking for a home. If they had been thinking of the land that they had left behind, they would have opportunity to return. They could have went back to Canaan. Or Jacob could have just went back, right, to Canaan. Okay. If that's the land that God promised them. No, here's what God promised them. But as it is, they desire a better country that is a heavenly one. This is the key. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God. Indeed, he has prepared a city for them. Now, I want everyone else to listen. Here, Hebrews says that God told them they have a home in heaven. And sooner than later, they will enter their home. They'll enter the heavenly city. But not yet, because notice it said they died without entering it yet. See? You're going to see why that's important. I just got to break it down so you can understand the connection with they're alive, they're aware. Here again, Hebrews 11, 8 to 10. By faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to set out for a place that he's going to receive as an inheritance. And he set out not knowing where he was going. By faith, he stayed for a time in the land he had been promised, Canaan. But that's not the land he was looking forward to. As in a foreign land, living in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, were heirs with him of the same promise. What land was he looking for here? For he looked forward to the city that has foundations, whose architect and builder is God. Now, that here Hebrews says that they were told they have a home that's not earthly, it's heavenly, a heavenly city, that's their home, but they died without entering it yet. Because why? I'm going to get there. You guys got to listen to this, because we're going to go in with intercession of saints. All right, let's continue. So Abraham offered his son. All right. By faith, Jacob, when dying, blessed each of the sons. By faith, Joseph made mention of the Exodus. Notice, I don't want to read all of this. I want you to know the people mentioned. By faith, Moses was in. All right, there goes Moses. So we got Moses. You know, we got Joshua, the conquest of Canaan. Rahab, who protected the spies so they wouldn't be murdered when they spied Canaan. That's in the book of Joshua, chapter 2. Also, who else? Look, what more should I say? For time would fail me to tell of Gideon, book of Judges, Barak, book of Judges, Samson, book of Judges, Jephthah, these are all in the book of Judges. David and Samuel, that's 1st, 2nd Samuel. And the prophets. Okay, so I want your wife and you, note, these are the people that are going to be mentioned in Hebrews 12, who through faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, obtained promises, shut the mouth of lions like Daniel, quenching raging fire like Daniel, three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, escaped the edge of the sword, won strength out of weakness, became might in war, put foreign armies to flight. Now, by the way, brethren, these stories you'll find 1st and 2nd Kings, but also in Maccabees. Women received their dead by resurrection. That happened with Elijah and Elisha, but it's also in Maccabees. Others were tortured, refusing to accept release in order to attain a better resurrection. Others suffered mocking and flogging, even chains and imprisonment. Now, 37, 38. This is the part that when I read, it moves me in my heart. They were stoned to death. They were sawn in two. Do you know there's an early tradition says that Isaiah was cut in half? He was sawed in half. They sawed his body in half before he died.
Yeesh.
Do you know that? There's a tradition that Isaiah was actually brutally murdered. He was sawed in half, and that's how he died. They were killed by the sword. They went about in skins of sheep and goats, like Elijah. Destitute, persecuted. Now, here's the part. Here, let me park on verse 38. I want it to sink in for all of you. I want you to see this right here. These people, it says, of whom the world was not worthy. This, it really breaks me. It says they were too good for the world. The world was not good enough to have them. Man, that's powerful. Man, that's powerful. You see? May it be your testimony that the world was not good enough to have you. You are too good for this world to have you. Yeah, that's powerful. Of whom the world was not worthy. It's not that they were not good enough for the world. The world was not good enough to have them. The world did not know how honored it was to have such men walking this earth. See, that's powerful right there. Okay, brother, hold on. I don't know why it won't work. But see that one right there moves me to tears. But how does that tie in intercession? I'll show you in a minute. But I'm sorry, I just left the park on this because I want this to be my testimony. Because that means I belong to heaven, not to the world. I want this to be my testimony that they'll say, the world was not worthy to have Sam Shamoun. Because he belonged to heaven. They wandered in deserts and mountains. I told you it was going to break me. In caves and holes in the ground. Yet all these, though they were commended for their faith, did not receive what was promised. What were they promised to receive? Since God had provided something better, so that they would not, apart from us, be made perfect. Now, they died waiting to enter heaven. Now, when did they enter? Now watch. You ready? Now I want you guys to follow why I spent time Hebrews 11. Here goes intercession of saints. The earlier copies of the New Testament in Greek had no chapter divisions. So that was added later. So you go to 40, you think it ends. It doesn't end in 40. It goes right into chapter 12. And I want you to see now where they are, all these men, and what are they doing. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, who's he talking about?
Oh, wow.
You got it, right? He's talking about these men. He goes, finally, when Jesus came, they entered heaven, and they're now watching you run the race and encouraging you to finish. They are your witnesses. They are your witnesses. They are watching you. In fact, if you get a commentary, cloud of witnesses, the imagery is of a coliseum. A coliseum where the spectators are sitting and watching you run a race. And they are the spectators. They're sitting and they're encouraging you to finish the race. Now, how do they encourage you? By praying for you. Lord, strengthen him. Lord, help him. Lord, watch over him. Lord, don't let him give up. Lord, lift him back up. They're encouraging you. Don't stop. Don't give up. Finish. It's worth it. Look what awaits you. Keep going.
Sheesh, that's powerful.
Very powerful.
Gonna make me cry.
Yeah, it made me cry too, because what that means is Mary is one of the witnesses praying for me to finish. Son, don't give up. Don't lose hope. Sorry, my son loves you. Keep running, son. Keep running. See, so this is why I say this passage kills me when I read it. But now, let us also lay aside every weight and the sin that clings so closely. Then knowing these are your witnesses, put a sin aside, which is so hard, damn hard. Let us run with perseverance the race that set us before us. You know why? Because you know who's at the finish line? Do you know who's at the finish line? Jesus. He's at the finish line. He's waiting for you to finish the line so he can hug you and embrace you and give you a crown. Look to him. He's there. He is the finish line. He is the destination. And he is the way. He showed you the way to get to him because he lived by example. That's what it's saying. The pioneer and perfecter of our faith, who for the sake of the joy that was set before him endured the cross. See, he didn't care about the beating, beaten to a bloody pulp, whipped to the point of death, spikes in his hands and feet, gasping for air, hanging naked on a cross, that didn't matter to him as much as what he saw would result from it. What would result from it? The joy of knowing that you will be saved. I would be saved. And that if I endure, he would crown me to live alongside of him forever and ever with this great cloud of witnesses. So because of that joy of knowing my work on the cross will result in this man and his wife being forgiven and washed and given the gift of the Spirit and the gift of graces to empower them so that they will finish the race and live forever. No more pain, no more suffering, no more death. It's all worth it. And that brought him joy. The joy of knowing that you would be saved was greater than the pain and agony that he experienced on the cross. See? That's what it's saying here. For the sake of the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, disregarding shame. In other words, the most shameful way to die, and this is a fact of history, the most shameful way to die and horrendous and horrific way to die was the cross. He didn't care about it. He goes, I don't care about the shame and disgrace I would endure by allowing myself to be killed on the cross. That's why to this day, you have people who mock him because of the cross. Muslims mock the cross. Jews mock the cross. You know, this is your God. Your God is hanging naked. Ha. He didn't care about that. Do you know why? Again, brother, I want you to know why. The joy that he experiences from knowing that what he did on the cross brings your salvation and glorification, that joy was greater than the pain and the shame he experienced. This is pure, perfect, infinite, unselfish, unconditional love. This is true love that it didn't benefit him. See, this is what people don't focus on. Jesus doesn't need me, doesn't need you. He is God, and he has the Father and the Spirit, so if he never created, he'd be perfectly sufficient. In fact, the only thing we've had is pain and misery to his heart. So this is how you know this is unconditional love, because usually when you love someone, it's because you want something in return. It's reciprocal. And if they don't respond, then you stop loving them. This is pure unconditional love, where a man did something that benefited him not in the least. Absolutely no benefit or gain to him. None. In fact, it was complete loss to the point he had to lose even his human life. In this transaction, Jesus lost and gained nothing because he doesn't need you to give him anything. The only thing he gained was the joy of knowing he saved you and me. That's it. So what the message of the cross is, Jesus saying, I'd rather die to have you than live without you. And he is also your witness, along with the cloud of witnesses that was set before him, endured the cross, disregarding shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him, remember him, think of him, focus on him, who endured such hostility against himself from sinners, so that you may not grow weary or lose heart. Don't lose heart. Jesus didn't. When they were beating him, when they were spitting on him, when they whipped him, and his back and his calves, the skin hung like shredded paper, when they drove spikes in his hands and they were spitting on him, and they had a crown of thorns on his head and he's hanging naked, he never lost heart because he thought of you. In other words, every time he got whooped, he had every one of us by name in his heart, in his mind. So when he got whooped, he was thinking of me. He goes, Shamoun, this is for you. This blow is for you. Because I know this will result in your salvation. See? So how does it tie in with the intercession saints? Who's witnessing your race? It's right here, Hebrews 12:1. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Jephthah, Samson, Gideon, Barak, Adam, Eve, Abel, they're all witnessing you run the race on earth to get to the finish line to Jesus Christ. This is intercession of saints. They're in the stadium, seated, encouraging you. Don't give up. Jesse, keep going. You're almost there. Don't lose hope. You're almost here. Keep going. Now, where are they? Remember, it says they're looking for a heavenly city, right? Remember, it says they're waiting for a heavenly city. Now, where are they? Here it is, Hebrews 12:22-24. But you've come to Mount Zion, the city of living God. Now, notice, heavenly Jerusalem. There's a Jerusalem in heaven. So where are you coming now? Where will you and I enter if we finish the race until Jesus returns? Heavenly Jerusalem. And who's going to be there? Who will you see, you and your wife, if you finish the race? You're going to see all the angels. See that right there? So number one, you're going to see the angels, all of them, gathered together in festivity, worshiping and singing and praising. But also, you're going to see the assembly of the firstborn enrolled in heaven. Now, I'm going to show you what the word means in a minute, assembly. Firstborn is plural, meaning those who first believed and were saved and died. And where are they? In heaven. Where are they? Heavenly Jerusalem. Who are they with? The angels. But who else are they with? And they are with God, the judge of all. And guess who else? And to the spirits, not their bodies, of the righteous made perfect. Remember what Hebrews 11 said? They're waiting to be perfected. They're waiting to enter this heavenly city, but did not enter yet when they died, because Jesus had to come and open the door. And he did. But notice, their bodies are not there. Remember in Revelation 6, he goes, I saw the souls. Their bodies wasn't in heaven because they were killed. Their bodies are not there because their bodies went to the dust. Their spirits are there. They are now perfect, complete, lack nothing. They're with God. They see God the Father visibly. They see the angels, and they are there before Jesus, who's in his flesh, who's the mediator of new covenant, who continues to present that blood, that sprinkled blood, his sacrifice before the Father for your sins, so you can be forgiven. And his blood speaks a better word than the word of Abel. Now remember, Abel was mentioned earlier. Hebrews 11:4. Now let me make this connection for you.
Okay.
By faith, Abel offered to God a more acceptable sacrifice than Cain's. Through this, he received approval as righteous, God himself giving approval to his gifts. He died, but through this faith, he still speaks. Now, what does it mean that the blood of Christ speaks a better word? Well, let me show you. Let's tie it in so you can see this is intercession of the saints. All right, now I'm going to show you again. Why does Jesus' blood speak a better word? Blood speaks metaphorically, yes, meaning it's a metaphor. But notice why. Now, Abel was murdered by Cain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when God confronted Cain, Genesis 4:8-10, to expose how evil his heart is for not only murdering his brother, but covering it up, watch his reaction. Genesis 4, verses 8-10. Cain said to his brother Abel, let us go out to the field. When they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him. Now watch. Then the Lord said to Cain, where is your brother Abel? Now notice God's timing. He comes right after he committed the act. Now why is he asking? To show you how wicked he is. Not because he doesn't know, because watch. He said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper here? And the Lord said here, to show you that he already knew, but he wanted to show you how wicked he is, that he thought he could hide from God. He thought that he could do something that God would not see because his knowledge of God was imperfect. Because if you already knew that God sees everything, the most stupidest thing you could do is saying, I don't know. God, you already know, because he didn't know God yet. His knowledge of God wasn't growing. So he didn't know that God is aware of everything, sees everything. That's why he thought he could cover up the fact that he murdered his brother. But now he learned something about God. Nothing is hidden from me. And the Lord said, what have you done? Here's the key. Listen, your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground. You see what Hebrews 12:24 is referring to? When Cain murdered Abel, God saw the blood, and it's as if the blood was speaking, avenge me, avenge me. Take vengeance upon what my brother did. So the blood of Abel brought judgment on Cain, right? You with me there, your wife?
Yeah.
But the blood of Jesus speaks a better word, meaning it doesn't say avenge me. You know what the blood of Jesus says? Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. You see the metaphor, what it means? The metaphor is Abel's blood, when God saw it, spoke metaphorically, avenge me, bring vengeance. He murdered me. But the blood of Jesus says, Father, forgive them. They do not know what they're doing. So which word is better? The word that says, punish them, destroy them, judge them, or the word that says, have mercy, O Lord. Have mercy. It's like the martyrs who were killed. When they were killed and their souls were there, what did they say? How long will it be before you judge and avenge our blood, inhabitants of the earth? So they're crying out, avenge us. Jesus' blood cries out, forgive them, Father. Forgive them. Forgive them. Because they are your sheep and they're lost without a shepherd. This is the intercession of saints. Now, I wanted to show you Hebrews 12:23 again. It says, in heaven, remember this is in heaven, right? Guess what they have in heaven? Now here it does a bad job of translating. It doesn't say assembly because the word is the same word you get church. The literal translation is they're having church in heaven. Let me show you. It's ecclesia. Ecclesia. Watch here.
This
And
is
the
to say that
church,
they're having church in heaven.
say it again.
You said this is the word they use is to say that they're having church in heaven.
Right there. Ecclesia is the Greek word, the church of the firstborn. So where is this church?
In heaven.
So now, brother, what do you do in church? Do you not pray for your loved ones and pray for the lost and pray that God saves those in the world? So what you do in church?
Yeah.
What do you think they're doing in church in heaven?
Same thing, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
And not only that, your prayers are not perfect because sin hinders you, right? And your love is not perfect because it's selfish, right? Because you're selfish, you're tainted, because you're sin.
Perfect. Yep.
But in heaven, is their love perfect?
Yeah.
Is their love unselfish?
No.
Is their prayers perfect? Their prayers are perfect, right? So how much more effective are their prayers for you than your prayers for me when you and I both struggle with sin and selfishness? This is the communion of saints.